Hi, I'm Coach Lucas, and today we're going to learn how to do the press handstand at home. For the press handstand, there's two main things that we're going to be talking about. One is flexibility and one is strength. First is flexibility, starting with the straddle stretch as we're doing the straddle press to handstand. Having the athlete have something to roll over or reach out with is really going to help with opening the shoulders, pushing the armpits down to the ground, and flattening the back. More often than not, we see a gymnast who will hunch over. So we'll get Hayden to demonstrate this for us. Sit up and hunch over. And the back's rounded. This feels like a stretch through the hamstrings, but it's not actually the range of motion we're going to be doing in the press to handstand. Hence, reaching out with an object and pushing the chest down. Continuing on flexibility is shoulder range of motion. When the gymnast presses up to that handstand position, if their shoulders are not able to hit the vertical alignment, then the gymnast will be weaker and have to compensate through extra muscles. Hence why being able to open the shoulders will make the gymnast press to handstand a lot easier. The best drill that we can do is elevated surface. So when the gymnast has something like a block, a mattress, or a step in the house, they can put their elbows, just past their elbows, up onto the block and push their armpits down to the ground. This helps open up the shoulders. If you don't find this enough of a stretch, the gymnast can then go onto their knees, elevating the lower half of their body and then allowing them to push further down through their armpits. This is a nice simple stretch that you can do for 30 seconds. The last two stretches we looked at were more passive. Now moving into some more active range of motion. When the press to handstand happens, because we don't have gravity on our side, we're relying on our muscles to be able to close our hips to our body, creating that compact straddle shape. The best exercise that we can do for this is to have the gymnast put their hands in line with their knee, and then they're going to keep their hands flat and lift their legs off the ground. This is perfect. Do 5 times, and then we're going to hold for 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we'll repeat this on the other leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Moving on from the one leg, we're then going to go into the middle, drawing a line perfectly across the knees. Gymnast's hands are going to be flat. Upper back stays as flat as possible, just like in our straddle stretch, so we're not hunching through our thoracic spine. Then they're going to lift 5 times, and again, hold for 5. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. In order to make this drill harder, the gymnast can slowly reach out further, until the point where their heels can no longer get off the ground. If the original exercise was too easy, we can enhance this by making it more difficult with an object that's vertical and narrow, that the athlete has to put their hands on the ground and lift their foot up and over the object. Now moving on to some of the strength exercises. In the press to handstand, the better range of motion you have, the less muscles that you have to use to initiate the press. However, there still is strength required. Grabbing some sort of weight, specifically a dumbbell or a plate, will be the best exercise that we can do to strengthen the shoulders throughout a planche or push open action. So by having the gymnast one hand on each side of the weight, they're going to try to lift with their back flat and push all the way past their ears, creating that vertical alignment. We'll try 3 times. 2, 3. Perfect. The dumbbell that we're looking to use should be roughly 25% of their body weight. This is ideal to be able to counteract that body motion in the press to handstand. Moving on to the next step. Once the gymnast has created some of that static strength with the weights, is we're now going to be looking at some active strength. The gymnast can kick up against the wall with their back against the wall. Head's going to go in so their back can be pressed all the way against the wall. Hands turn backwards to alleviate some of the pressure off the wrists. And the athlete is going to straddle down as slow as possible and slowly make contact with the ground and then stand up. Perfect. That's step number 1. Moving on to the second one, the gymnast is going to kick back up to the handstand, hands still in reverse, back flat against the wall, and this time they're going to straddle and lower all the way to a stop, momentary off the ground. 3 seconds. 1, 2, and then same thing, slowly off and stand up. Perfect. Moving on to the third step, same thing, the gymnast is going to kick up against the wall, legs slowly straddle down to that momentary hover, and then press back up. Awesome. Take note that when the athlete is doing the press to handstand in the negative and positive form, the hips and shoulders try to stay in line as best as possible, creating the least amount of shoulder strength needed. Before we add the yoga ball into our cheese mat, we're going to focus on a little bit of the shoulder lean and counteracting so our hips can come above our head. So what we're going to do is the gymnast is going to have the yoga ball beneath their knees, Lean slightly forward so we see this 5 to 10 degree past vertical, and then from here the bum is going to pull over and the shoulders are going to push back. So as high as we can. And slowly back down. And we're just going to do this 3 times. So lean forwards a little bit, bum up, hit the vertical, back down, that's 2. And last one, lean forwards, vertical, back down, 3. Perfect. The next one's kind of a fun exercise. We're going to find a yoga ball or some sort of rolling object that the gymnast can elevate their feet almost at shoulder height. What this does is this is the action for the being on the floor all the way to the pull-up position before the straddle can start. Oftentimes in gymnastics, we see in the press to handstand the athletes straddle way too early, which puts more strain on the shoulders. So with the yoga ball, the gymnast is going to pike up all the way until the bum's on the wall, and then from here, can straddle out and around. Perfect. Then, same thing, we're going to straddle and slowly lower down to the ground, always lowering slow to the ground to perfect the negative action. For our next exercise, we're going to be combining all of the steps that we've used between our strength and flexibility. What you'll need is that yoga ball, hands can be turned forwards, and then you're either going to need a partner or a mat that we can land on. We're going to show both iterations. So the first one is a partner. Hayden's going to do the same press, getting the vertical alignment with the hips. The partner's just going to slowly hold them so we can balance, and again, slowly lower down to the ground, and to that straddle stand. Perfect. If you don't have a spotting partner at home, having some sort of mattress or soft landing in front of you is a great way to get the bum over the head, press as far as you can, and then fall forwards into a safe landing position. The number one focus of this is to make sure the bum hits above the shoulders before the straddle initiates. All right, time to piece them all together. So now the gymnast is going to be on the floor. The closer the feet are together, the higher the butt is elevation-wise. This makes it easier for the gymnast to press. Again, as the helper, we want to make sure that the shoulders stay in line and the bum is pressing over. So my hands will just be on their hips, and as they press over to the handstand, I am just merely guiding their balance. And again, slowly lower down, always slow on the negative lower. Perfect. Now time to play around by yourself. Before you go for the full press to handstand, it's great to feel out the balance. Slowly go onto your tiptoes, up off the ground, and back down. Do this 3 times. 2, and last one. 3. Perfect. Take note that when the athlete is pressing off the ground, pushing off the toes, lifting the heels off the ground, allows the butt to hit the highest elevation possible before having to switch all strength to the shoulders. Last step, piece it all together, and you have yourself a press to handstand.